with those corrections, like they do for like transcriptionists or like doctor's offices, once you fix those, they run the dialect of the people over time. I mean, I understand we changed the word over 2 years, so it's gonna have to learn that again, but if we go in and fix it, will it stick?
So there's a keyword that we can enter words in. So for instance, like Danfino, it will correctly pronounce his name, but we only have so many of them in the contract. We'd have to figure that out. But yeah, there are some keywords like I was talking about, Humanity, that they would spell that, so you could enter it in. So there'd be some geographical and names. I'm not too worried about those. Now, will it always pick it up? I can't guarantee it, but I can say that I always explain to me that software, that keyword, it should populate, but you know, that's what they say.
Because in medical facilities, they use a lot of tools like this for transcription purposes. It'll pick up things that are barely a whisper, and a lot of doctors dictating to a dictaphone very quietly, and sometimes you have no idea what they're saying. But then I look at this and I say, okay, well, this isn't a whole lot, but if you're hearing impaired and you have to rely on reading, is this really a service that for everyone? Is this like gonna be quote unquote okay to put out there, or is this something that we would fix before we put it out for the public to see?
We do have the option in their software of making manual corrections. It preserves both the automatic captions and the
So, okay, but the thing is, then we need staff to go through and verify, read it, to edit it, and then if we do that, then we won't have the whole harmless. If there's an error, then it's on us.
Okay. So that's kind of the point of it. The whole point of the ADA compliance is for people that have disabilities. And I think it would be a disservice if we say this is okay enough if we can't see if there's something that's, you know, that I don't know where this falls in line of the percentages, but if that's who we're supposed to be doing this for, I don't feel appropriate to alienate a whole group of people just to push it forward fast. You know, again, I wanna do this right, I wanna do it for everybody that's going to be using it. That's why all of this ADA compliance stuff is out here, and that's why there are more regulations now because of that fact. And so, you know, Corporation Counsel, did this meet what you would like to see for accuracy?
You know, so again, this one, it was one that was given to them. They were able to do different processes with it. What I think will really tell the tale is if we do a meeting, or at the meeting, our county clerk pushes the record button, it all is automatically run, and right after that, we should have available to us a copy to review. That way I know there's no intervention in between the time of recording and the time we're providing the video. So I think that's the next step here. We've got a meeting on the 18th. Let's hit the record button and see what that will look like.
And then is there a way that you could tell us or report back to at least the committee, you know, how many things could we fix? And how much it would cost to fix more if would be needed, with open meetings? Because that's what we're just talking about, is a specific matter, correct?
Yeah, I look, you know, initially I'd be looking at compliance, because if it's not compliant, it probably wouldn't be to dig too much into some of the other details. If it gets, you know, if it looks like it's close to compliant, or maybe a few tweaks can help, I think that would make sense at that point to look at, you know, what would the additional cost for that tweaking. As Chad said, though, we like our whole harmless language in the contract, so I'm really not looking for them to send us a product that we then need an individual to watch, edit before it goes out to the public. What we're really paying for here is a service that will automatically caption videos and also make them WCAG 2.1 compliant, like our agendas and website, social media activities.
That's it, thank you.
Alright, well, we'll go to the next meeting. Did you have something?
Yeah, are we talking with other vendors that we're supposed to
So,
discuss?
thank you, Supervisor. Mr. Chairman, so the next part is that I did some research. This task was assigned to someone there. They're compiling a list. They're compiling a list of showing letters. I only thought there was a handful, there is probably quite a few, a lot more than what I imagined. So we're gonna compile that list. Normally, as a course of practice, and we talked about this as the last county board, generally we just don't pick one or two, we actually just send out an RFP or RFI, and just so it's a fair, open, transparent process, that's what we normally do. Just say, hey, this is a little bit different, this is not a normal process, you guys kind of created your group, and, you know, we're working with open meetings, which is okay and fine. But just now, if we're gonna, you know, go down another path, we just need to make sure, you know, we're open. We can continue to go down two separate paths, but it just, if we go down the second path, I wanna make sure that we follow our normal process. But again, what I'm saying is, you know, how you wound up here is okay for open meeting, I'm not saying anyone did anything wrong. So we can continue to pursue both paths. If you like, if not, no big deal. The other thing I wanted to report on is we figured out the technical support for county board meetings. So I do have a special work rule that we'll be signing off on. We do have the money for it. So someone from IT will be at every county board meeting, probably starting in April. And the other reason why that's probably important is because you'll all have tablets to use also. You'll have to sign out for them, and again, they're not for personal use, just official county business. But that's the other piece I just want to talk about. Supervisor Van Landen, I'm famous for taking a question and talking about everything else except it, so I hope I answered your question.
Well, I think next step was just to do a raw recording of the next meeting and then see what it comes back with. I mean, my own personal take is outside of the stuttering pieces that were in there, a little bit of mic control. I don't think it was horrible.
The other thing, and I apologize, I had to step out and take some calls, is that open meetings does have a way where we can still, you know, so it's accurate, but we can eliminate some of the stuttering and the ums and ands, so it's a little bit clearer. So we do have the ability, using AI, to do that. I don't believe this version had that applied to it. So that could be edited, but I think the question is, we set up the parameters of what we want, we make sure that the original transcript exists with the ums and ands, but I think it'd probably be less painful, I shouldn't say less painful to watch, but it'll be a little bit clearer just to watch when those are removed.
And it's not going to be, I mean, I understand your point, Supervisor Coonan, it's not going to be perfect. So, I mean, I think if someone's, you obviously try to make it as good as you can, but I mean, if somebody's going to sit there and watch these videos with the intent of trying to pick it apart, well, they're gonna find something to pick it apart. I would hope that the intent is for 99.9% of the people that when somebody, I mean, if they misspell Kiwani, that they're gonna know what the hell they're saying, you know? I mean, some of it's interpretation of just sitting there looking at it and understanding that most people would probably blow right past it or find some of the stuff that's in there that's be a bit humorous, but yeah, if you wanna go letter of the law and say, well, you know, that wasn't exact, okay, well, fine, then I guess we don't record.
So from our standpoint, administrative, we'll rely on court counsel to say, you know, are we good or not, and then with the contract language, I think we'll have extra protections if in fact we can do what we think we can do. There'll be extra protections. Some of that will, you know, be on us to make sure that, you know, local establishment stuff, geographic markers and people's names are spelled in there correctly, and the full amount. I don't know if there's I think there's also a character capacity, and we haven't gotten that far to look at it. We just gotta make sure that, you know, like Zeke's name, I think it's really long. I don't know if there's enough characters for that. It's like little things like that we just have to go through. But I think if we have this was a very short 30-minute meeting. If we have a longer one that's a little bit more interactive with more folks talking, I think we'll have a true picture of the video, especially if it's running through our equipment directly through open meetings with the clerk. We'll know exactly what we're getting, and we wants to have them edited, it's just automatic. And then from there, we can, court counsel will be able to take an honest assessment of it, and then hopefully that all checks off, hopefully the contract stuff, works out well, and, you know, we're off to the races.
I don't expect it to be perfect, I just expect it to be, you know, closer than what it is, because I think of people that are hearing in here, I have some family members that are, so this is super important. You know, make sure that we do the best that we can. The other thing is that I am fine with open meetings and going down that road, but I think, you know, if there are a lot of other options out there, I don't think we put all of our eggs in one basket, because what if the other option is better?
So, okay, I don't know what
Now that we have that out there, right,
yeah.
like.
So, a couple things there. The county has processes, we have fair bidding, so there's certain things that we have to do. So right now, we currently have a contract with open meetings. It's for the agenda management, and running of the meetings, so we have that piece. Originally, they're like, okay, well, that's great, let's add on this piece. So we're gonna test all that, but as we move forward, when Ian talks about, he's gonna look at, you know, other AI solutions, we have to see, is that a separate standalone, it can be added in these packages, can it be added in open meetings, outside open meetings? So there's a lot of like procurement processes we have to follow, and it gets a little complex sometimes, just to make sure we're following the state statute, we're following our ordinances. So part of it will be as this evolves, unfortunately in short order, we're gonna be walking through that stuff. And we'll make recommendations. So for instance, if we're doing our research and we find someone that, you know, hey, they have this video, we looked at it, it's awesome, and there's an agenda management package. And as part of that agenda management package, they take care of all the ADA stuff, so we can take our, you know, 3 feet of paper agendas and put it through there, and it's all ADA compliant, and it's like 10 grand, woo-hoo, that's great, easy. Nothing's ever that easy, of course, but it's part of that process we just have to go through. So we just, in a very more lengthy discussion, we just have to do our due diligence.
Okay, just as long as we do, that's all that I care about. Thank you.
Anything else?
So,
I actually have a question, Pat, with, so this doesn't necessarily have to do with the recording, but if we take a vote on the board, will that feed into the visual?
Did we have any?
According to them, when the meeting software does it, it will be able to have that vote on there. We haven't seen that yet, but verbally, I've been told it was that way.
And so how difficult, I know this isn't our normal practice, so I understand that we, you know, it's the, all in favor, aye, boom, we go on. But it's not rocket science to push the buttons. And we're not on the system we had before where in the old days you had to.
Actually, it's the same company.
But I guess now where I was going with that was publishing the vote. We always used to talk about if we used the board, then we had to pay extra in the paper to get all that crap.
Still the same.
So if we put everything through if we get rid of the voice vote and we're gonna go to the basically push button board, then every one of those would have to get.
Well, when we create the minutes, voice vote, we just show that as a voice vote.
Yeah.
But if there's an actual roll call vote, that has to be reflected in our minutes. We do a summary, depending upon how big of an item, we'll do a summary for the press gazette.
Can we get clarification?
But you have to show who voted how.
So if you pass something major, like, we've recently had a couple, total chapter rewrites, like chapter 20, to the full rewrite of it. Instead of publishing the entire chapter in the newspaper, we're allowed, by statute to publish a summary of it, as long as that summary also includes information as to where the person can get a full copy of that document if they want it.
But specifically, Dave, to the vote, because I've been, and again, this is pre all of this stuff, but I mean, mean, I've been to township meetings where they use their board voting system. Now, again, it's only 6, 7, 8, 9 people, whatever, on a board. But they use their board system every time they take a vote on something. So it comes up as, you know, motion made by, seconded by, and then, you know, they all push their button to vote, which again, does that take an exorbitant amount of time? I don't know, it's gonna extend the meeting by 5 minutes unless we're waiting for somebody to
there's
push their
that,
button. The
you
question
know-
is, do we have to then publish that vote?
Well, so if you're talking minutes, I think you're talking minutes now.
Ordinance.
In general, so if
Well, it could be
everything on
different.
our
So say
agenda, we take a
he's
vote.
taking minutes, he'd just say motion by A, seconded by B, vote passed unanimously, vote was 17-6. In the minutes, he mainly has to show the actions taken as opposed to a full voting block.
Yeah, we don't want nothing written or anything.
Can we use the board for everything we do?
That's what I'm asking.
But I think the question is this, can you use the board for everything, or at least the action items? And then the question is really, Dave, is if you use the board on every vote, do we have to publish every vote? Because it's a resolution or ordinance, or do we only have to do it if it's an ordinance change or if it's a 2/3 budget?
Every action the board takes, what needs to be reported in the minutes, so I mean, whether it's just a simple motion and not a form.
I think they need a
But statutorily, there's things that have to be posted in the Press Gazette because they're the only qualifying newspaper for the county.
Yes.
So the question there is, do all of those votes on the board have to be, or is it just resolutions requiring 2/3 and ordinances? I think that's the question, is do we have to publish those
If we use
in the
board?
Press Gazette?
Yeah.
Every time we use the board, we would have to publish.
And
the
I
rest
can't
of it.
remember the.
I'd have to
bring
look
you an
at something
example.
like that. That's-
Well, yeah, I mean, can you guys just look into that? I mean,
Absolutely.
it's part of the thing of, okay, if we're going to be recording instead of this, all in favor, aye, and all that kind of stuff, it would just go to the board, the vote comes up, boom, next, move on to the next subject.
And my 2 cents would just be action items. It's resolutions, ordinances, everything requires a vote.
Okay, well, if you can look, I mean, I get it, I don't wanna, I don't wanna say, okay, now we're gonna start paying for, this much verbiage in the Press Gazette, but it would seem like,
And just think how different all this is. I mean, even the basic resolution, well, the signature block, you've gotta describe that, right? There's just so much that goes into just a usual, 2-page resolution. It's gonna take as much time to get that ready to post as it does to write the resolution. There's a lot of additional.
I'll bring you some
work
examples.
on this.
alright,
Okay.
anything else? on this
Does the Press
topic?
Gazette news article have to be ADA accessible?
If they post it on the website.
I just did that because the Press Gazette requires that. I thought you'd get a kick out of it.
She said look at it.
Oh, okay. Mr. Suennen, thank you.
No, that's it, thank you, Ian, I appreciate the.
Thanks, Ian.
Alright, moving on, 6, oral report, court, counsel, got anything for us, Dave?
Only if you have questions tonight.
Anybody?
He's
Alright.
not gonna have a problem with his report.
Action items number 7, resolution approving budget carryover request from 2025 budget to 2026 budget, 26-041R. Anything, Chad, that you gotta add, or are we good?
No, just for the newer members on there, this is the annual carry forward. We move these forward for projects from 25. Yeah, 25, I'm in 3 different budget years. In 25 budget to 26 budget. These are all funds that will be available. If we finally close books and they're short, it gets reduced by that amount. Projects aren't on here unless if they're in an enterprise fund. Enterprise funds, because they don't have project budgets, the whole thing has to carry forward. So you have to amend their budget to allow them to actually complete projects that were already previously approved. I know it gets a little technical, but that's really what this is. If you have any questions specifically for admin, please ask me now, or between now and the board meeting, please let me know, and I'll be happy to talk to you individually about it. Other than that, to try to streamline the process, this committee is the one that's going to move the resolution forward. So we didn't run the resolutions through each of the committees now, so we're already trying to streamline streamline the process in the packet, so. These have all gone through all the other committees except for Ed and Rec and Public Safety, which will be meeting later this month, but before the county board meeting. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, that was long.
Any questions on what's in your packet?
Good question, is it yes or no?
I just like, again, that's a good question, I'm gonna take
Seconded
it.
by Ross, anything, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried, that's 7. 8, discussion possible action regarding projects funded by the tourism grant program. Dave.
Just as an update, so there were 10 total awards, 8 have been paid out, 2 remain. The public market was awarded $250,000, and the Children's Museum was awarded $100,000. There were 3 main dates that were significant at the very start. We have a date you have to apply by, a date you have to commit your funds by, and a date your project has to be fully completed by. We extended the date that funds need to be committed by to November 15th of 2025. So we're now past that date, and we still have, so that's one requirement. Funds, we now have 2 main entities, Children's Museum, Public Market. Funds would need to be committed by a date now already in the past, November 15th. And the second requirement is they need to be able to demonstrate that the project will be completed by the end of this year, by the end of 2026. So what happens, all the entities had signed contracts, and first they applied, and their application tells us what they plan to do should they receive the award. The board made awards. In their application, they have, they specifically lay out, we'll do A, B, and C. When they're ready to request funds, at that point, I check, I say, okay, demonstrate that you have committed these funds you're requesting by November the 15th of 25, and demonstrate that your project will be completed by the end of 2026. If the entities can demonstrate that, and currently again, 8 out of the 10 have, and they've been paid, if they can demonstrate those 2 things, then they would actually get their award, but those are requirements in order to receive the grant funding. Now again, so far, how I've been doing it is I haven't been, checking each week or each month with people, hey, did you do this, did you do that? We're waiting until they request the funds, so that's how it's been up until this point. I let the projects go when they're ready to request the funds, then I say, okay, demonstrate, you committed it by this date, and your project will be completed by this date. Here we're starting to get a little late in the game, and I think it may make sense with these 2 remaining entities for me to contact them, again, point out the requirements, and I did this the day after the county board extended the commit by date to November 15th of 2025. I updated all of the entities, and hey, this is the new date. But I think at this point, we're in 2026, we're past the date to commit funds by, and we're getting, we're in the year, the project must be completed. And so I think at this point, Mr. Chair, it would make sense for me to contact each entity, remind them of the 2 requirements they need to meet, and ask them, regarding the timeline that's passed, could you please demonstrate that you committed your funds by that date? And also, if you have committed your funds by that date, please provide a narrative describing an assurance that the project will be completed by the end of this year. So that's kind of an update, and that would also be my suggestion regarding the 2 remaining items.
Anyone have any issues with that?
And the 8 that are paid out, they've already done all of the things.
They've all been verified, paid out, they're done. So we're down to 2 now from those original 10.
Out of those 8, if they don't complete by the end of the year,
Again, that's part of the verification. We have to be reasonably assured that they would, and with the original 8, I am reasonably assured that those will be completed.
I actually saw Dave on the soccer fields at the Totem Howard the other day.
Well, I didn't say
He,
that.
he was walking around looking at each blade of grass, and he was like, that's complete.
I did not
Oh.
see them over at ISA, so.
That's how in depth he got it.
I think the majority of them are done.
Yeah.
A lot more.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think that's the right way to go, and I just wanna be clear, Dave, that you're administering this based on the parameters that were set by the board at the time.
That's correct.
So therefore, if they, for example, can't meet the completion date, that's not at your discretion to say, well, that's okay, we'll still give you the funds. You have to base it on what you were told the parameters were.
That's correct, and should, you know, should I receive documentation, demonstrating that they will be able to complete the project in 26, but if as I'm reviewing that, I have concerns, those are concerns I would bring, that back to this committee. Yeah, so if ever it's not fairly crystal clear to me, I will bring it back to this body to help make decisions on where to go next. But I think what I laid out is probably a good next step.
Okay. Right. Will we make if you'll have something for the next meeting?
And I'll report back at the next meeting,
Okay.
You know, so if that's the direction, I will proceed as directed and.
How about a motion to hold number 8 till the April meeting?
I'll make a motion to hold number 8 to the April meeting.
Motion by Clinton,
Second.
second by Van Laan, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Number 9, approve payment of bills, 8 or 9A legal bills.
Motion approved.
Motion by John. Not all at once. Second by Van Laan, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. 9B, all other bills.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
And if I could, just on the legal bills, something our Director of Administration brought up earlier, I too would request that they be combined with the regular bills. What I was told was before my time, and I've been here 10 years now, but before my time, there may have been some issues with the bills, and there was a reason, you know, that's kind of specifically spotlight them. I've been here 10 years now, I've never had an issue with the legal bill, no one's ever questioned the legal bill, but yet every month, you know, we're going through them. My concern is, you know, these are public records, and if people request them, they can certainly get copies. But typically, I'll have outside law firms, and you know, we have 30 departments, there's a lot of different firms, a lot of different subject matter, but I'll have them do a redacted bill and do a regular bill, which is extra work for them, extra cost for us, because their regular bill is going to often identify confidential information, could be HIPAA stuff, could be contractual stuff. And even when they do their best to redact, sometimes things would get through. I don't like the idea of the legal bills just being in the spotlight, because anyone that's on the other side of that case, they're probably going straight to those just to see, you know, what the county's strategically been doing. Typically, I prevent that by having redacted bills, but the outside firms, you know, again, when you deal with several of them, they don't just have it down, and sometimes you get the, yeah, so I just to keep it in consideration, not necessarily tonight, but at some point, it would be nice to treat the legal bills as we do all other bills, and just put them together. And I can live with it either way, it's not the end of the world, either way, but.
You're never quick.
Really good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving us the opportunity to speak. Just really quickly, the bills, the reality is, he's already engaged them, they have to be paid.
They're already
So it's-
costs incurred, so.
You really can't, I mean, you could deny we're gonna wind up in court, we're gonna wind up paying. Just to be clear, just like all the other bills.
There's a history behind this.
I know, but but again, Mr. Chairman, what I'm saying is, during his report, he should be able to tell you what specific things he's working on. Now, obviously, we haven't had the problems we have had in the last, probably 10 years, Pat, but, you know, in the future that could, but at the end of the day, it's the oversight committee can always ask for that, and it can always be a standing item, if it becomes an issue.
So, would the bills that you're going to put with the rest of the bills, are those also redacted, or you wouldn't have
Those
the
would still
detail?
be the redacted versions.
Okay.
But again, depending on the level of redaction they do, how well they do, it's not me redacting them, I could, it's, you know, it's just a bunch of additional work that simply putting mine with all the other bills would.
But again, there's bills here and there's bills here, you're approving them here and then you're approving them here. You have staff putting the bills here and then putting them here, so I have admin staff doing it, then I have his staff doing it, and then there's another staff.
Regular copy or redacted copy.
It just, there's just a lot of duplication, but the real intent for the committee is just to know what he's working on. So there may be another way of doing it, just so that you guys are apprised that, you know, some future court counsel doesn't hide some stuff.
Well,
But
then it's
that was the
reporting
control
monthly, right?
mechanism, but it's duplication as we go through this. It's one of those things that we're probably gonna take out.
And we do have the claims reports that shows any action the county's involved in, you know, that always comes before the
Oh.
body, so.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
I
kinda
know.
like a written report as to what you're working on, cause I sometimes question what you do, so.
Can you do it by the 30-minute increment, like roll their turns?
Yeah, just like an attorney, hit that little button and keep pushing it. Okay, so do we have to, it actually was one of the things I was thinking about at the last county board meeting. Do we have to take, is this in statute at all?
What's that?
The breakout of this, was this ever like,
The legal bills or the?
yeah, the actual breaking out of the legal
They
bills?
don't
was-
require
No,
the break.
but this has been a long-standing process by the county board, and we've always honored that. But you're already paying the bills anyway, on this item, the paying the full bills, that is required by state statute.
So I'll take it up, but does anybody wanna, just for clarity's sake, does anyone wanna put a communication into, at the next board meeting to combine these? You got it? Alright.
Remember, we used to come in here and have to sign
Yeah, I know,
the book,
yeah.
and they were already paid.
So
And it-
Supervisor Coonan will put in a communication to basically eliminate the separate.
Look at how happy
Oh, kind, thank you very much.
I know.
I appreciate it.
Alright, 9B, motion to approve all other bills.
Motion to approve.
Motion by John,
Second.
second by Ross, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried, no communications, anything else, gentlemen and lady? Hearing none, motion adjourned by John, seconded by Devin, all in favor?
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.